Hey everybody, Mike Lawson here with CU Broadcast. On today's show, we have OnApproach's Ablack discussing big data and your credit union. Check it out. And but before we get started into that, can you give us a quick summary on what OnApproach is all about? Can you give us a quick 411?
Yeah, sure. So OnApproach, we're a QSO, and we're really focused on big data and analytics. And how we came to be is we started off as a consulting company building data warehouses and realized this is a very expensive thing for your typical credit union. There's a lot of value in it, but it's very expensive. So why don't we build a common standard model that could be slotted in at every credit union, and then allow them to share applications and to be able to pool their data as an industry, because credit unions are naturally very good collaborators.
Yeah.
And so we thought, let's come up with a collaborative model for big data analytics that allows them to get the full value of it without having the prohibitive upfront cost and the maintenance cost of it.
Right. And we've all heard the term big data by now. It's been around quite prevalently for 3 or 4 years now, even in the credit union industry, which kind of has a little behind the curve sometimes when it comes to this stuff, but rightfully so. They want to wait until they see things that are proven and then they all dive in. But we're kind of out of the big data 101 thing now, and we're moving into more specific, refined applications. How has it evolved over the last few years? I mean, what is big data today as opposed to what it was a couple of years ago?
Yeah, so I think the change. What's driving big data is the internet and the ability to collect and create information on the internet, right? So you look at a company like Amazon. People provide ratings, they make purchases. It wasn't possible years ago to track that information to that level. And so it's creating data exponentially every single day. And that data is very rich because it's actually telling you what people like, and they're coming to expect you to understand what it is they want and to recommend things based on their habits,
right,
on their purchasing habits. And so this now is putting pressure on folks that, they now have to rise up to that level and say, hey, I want you to provide me with information on my phone that tells me what product I should be using of yours.
Right.
And how did other people feel about that product? And so credit unions are in the retail space. Their app appears on the phone, and people, they'll deposit their money, they'll do transactions there, and that's now the way that they're interfacing with the credit union, and they're expecting a higher level of information provided to them, and credit unions just aren't there today.
Right. And so what are a couple of things that they can do to get there, and then we'll talk about some examples of what credit unions are doing today.
Sure, yeah. So I think, the first step is you need to integrate your data, right? So credit unions, the typical credit union has data that resides in about 5 to 6 different systems, right? They'll have a system for credit card. They'll have a system for mortgage applications. They'll have a debit card maybe out of their core system. They have their core system. They have credit score information. All of these are different sources. And what companies like Amazon are really excellent at is they are excellent at integrating their data and really being able to tell a story very quickly. Credit unions are not there. So step one is they've got to get their data integrated, right? You've got to pull it all together. And then once it's pulled together, and it's integrated, you need to start studying that data to look at trends, purchase trends, things that you can recommend, maybe new market opportunities that you haven't thought about before, new offers to your members because you've done some basket analysis and you realize, hey, if they've got these 2 products, they're most likely to have this. Credit unions have relied on external vendors to provide that information over the years, but that's not fast enough. It needs to be they need to bring this information in-house and really start doing their own analytics, and also collaborating with other credit unions on analytics to really figure out, okay, are there market opportunities that we're missing right now?
Exactly, and that all equals to better service and more value. So that's a good goal to have. So
absolutely.
So I assume there's a couple of credit unions out there that are doing, or probably more than a couple, obviously, but there are some credit unions out there that are really using big data effectively. Can you provide a couple of examples of what they're doing, and maybe that can spread out to the other folks who are maybe having a little bit more of a difficult time?
Sure, and I'll give you an example in the area of loan pricing. So right now, there are models that traditionally estimate the risk associated with a certain credit score. So the lower the credit score, the higher the risk. Well, we know of one credit union that's actually analyzed 8 years worth of loans, and they actually looked at the net charge-offs on those loans and realized that a 550 credit score is not as risky as the traditional industry models say they are.
Oh, wow.
So instead of fighting over 700 credit score business, right, which everybody fights, it's very low margin, you can move over to the 550 area and triple your net interest margin, but still provide that member with a great opportunity because you're giving them a lower rate.
Yep.
Right? They're not priced as high as the models say they should be. So I think that's a great opportunity.
That's awesome.
For better serving the members and also helping the credit union become more profitable. I think another area is really getting into understanding your member profitability. Who are your profitable members? What kind of products are they using? And then how can you take that information, apply it to the rest of your membership? One of our credit union clients really understands that very well. They understand which members help make the credit union more successful. And they're studying their habits and then now figuring out how to apply those or to make offers to their other members to get them up to that level. So imagine if you're able to get all your members purchasing your products the same way that your high value members do, that's going to help give the whole credit union a lift.
Exactly.